to share, and then we will open it up for questions. So my name is Brianna Bergen, and I think you guys are seeing my screen now. Let me know if you're not. Good.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm Brianna Bergen. I'm a second, almost third rotation pathways. I did my first I interned with Honeywell. I went to Rutgers. I graduated 2019. And then I interned in the summer of 2018 with Honeywell at a manufacturing site in Mobile, Alabama. That is where I did my first rotation as an HR generalist for 15 months. My current role is with our connected enterprise in the software space as an HR generalist, supporting a couple of different business groups here. And then I'm actually getting ready to roll into my third rotation as a senior compensation specialist in just a few weeks here. So I will pass it over to Anna to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anna Bade. I graduated from Rutgers in the spring of 2018, which is when I started with Honeywell full-time. I am currently in my third rotation as an HR business partner, supporting one of our business groups. And I support the engineering function. Prior to that, I've also been in Comp and Ben, as well as supporting our HCE business, which is our software business for transformation efforts, as well as a manufacturing population in aerospace for my first rotation. So I'm almost done with Pathways. I'll be done here in December, and it's been a great ride so far. I'll hand it over to Nikki.
Thanks, Anna. Hi, everyone. I'm Nikki Patel. I graduated from the master's program in 2016, finishing up the Pathways program here as well. My first rotation was PMT business in the Chicago area, and then I was with HR services in our New Jersey older headquarters, and then my last rotation has been in Charlotte, supporting the corporate commercial group here. I'll hand it over back to you.
Sure. Joe, did you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'll do a brief introduction. Thanks, Bree. I think I'm the youngest one here on the line. I just started Pathways just about 6 months ago with Honeywell. Interned last summer and graduated from Rutgers in December of 2020, January 2021. 2020 was a weird year, so it's kind of in the middle. So I interned as an HRS analyst in our HR services department in corporate. And then I decided to come back to human resource services as a predictive analytics specialist. So focusing on a lot of data analytics initiatives, as well as some other strategic initiatives that we do. We kind of partner with all the businesses that Honeywell has. So been doing that for the last 6 months. And this is my first rotation in Charlotte as well. So so far it's been really exciting. I'll give it back to you, Bree, and you can start the presentation.
Sure. Thanks, Joe. So we have a presentation today for you. We're going to go over Honeywell as an organization, and then we're going to talk about our HR structure and the HR Pathways program specifically. So this is Honeywell at a glance. It's a pretty, there's multiple businesses. We have 4 official, if you will, SBGs, which are sub-business groups. So they're different businesses that have their own like P&Ls, and they make up the conglomerate that is Honeywell. This points out that, as an entire organization, we have about $33 billion in total sales. Our biggest contributor to that is our aerospace business. So if you're on a plane, most likely you're interacting with something that Honeywell has made. Our second biggest business is our performance materials and technologies business. And then we have Honeywell Building Technologies and our safety and productivity solutions. And you can see how all of that contributes to the $33 billion in sales. Overall, Honeywell has about 37,500 patents either granted or pending. We have over 110 employees worldwide. So we are a very large global organization. We have a very large US presence, but we're definitely a large global presence. We have 970 locations across the globe. And I have a short video I'm going to pull up here to, this is a commercial that you might see on like your news channels, the golf channel, for in the fall. This is our first ever commercial that we're launching, so it's pretty exciting. Just give it a second to load.
There's software. And then there's just Forge, analytical software that connects assets and people to deliver a cybersecure record of your entire operation, so that everyone speaks the same language. Software.
Right, so that was the video. I need to figure out how to cancel this. Could you all hear the video?
The audio did cut in and out.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
we will find a way. If you just YouTube the Honeywell commercial or Honeywell Forge, there'll be a ton of information that'll come up, as well as the commercial. If you are interested in a career with Honeywell, I do encourage you to do a Google search of Honeywell anyway, and do a YouTube search. There's lots of videos out there from some of our different leaders. So being a part of Honeywell means that you're a part of a performance culture. And what that means is that you're rated on your performance. Everything is about your performance, but it's not just, how you work. It's the behaviors that you put into it as well. So we have 8 behaviors that we live by here at Honeywell: to have a passion for winning, be a zealot for growth, think big and then make it happen, act with urgency, being courageous, being committed, becoming your best, and then building exceptional talent. And so everything that we do it with integrity, we do it with ethics. We live by our code of conduct. That's something I definitely like about working at Honeywell. The code of conduct leaves little to be disputed on how someone should act in a professional setting or how you should act at work. We support diversity, and we do everything with workplace respect. So as I just mentioned, we're really passionate about inclusion and diversity, and here are some of our highlights. And here's how we're promoting diversity. We have employee networks at local and company level. It's been created for more inclusive culture. So not only do we have larger Honeywell networks like women in engineering, we have them at the lower business level as well. So as I mentioned, we have 4 main businesses that we have that make up Honeywell. Within those businesses, there's sub businesses, and each of them have their own employee network. So wherever you're at, you can be a part of something if you're interested. We have a company-wide unconscious bias training, which gives all of our employees the tools they need to consider diverse perspectives when making decisions. This is one of my favorite trainings because it helps you think about things in a different way and things that you may not consider, how diversity changes the way we work. One of the examples that they give is, if you're at a table of all women or you're at a table of all men, the way that you create a doll is going to be very different than if you have a woman, a man, people of color at the table. And so that's one of my favorites. We're mandating more diverse candidate pools for roles across the company. So something we do as an HR generalist is to make sure that we're interviewing diverse candidates. We have a diverse slate of candidates. That's part of the work that I do every day when we're recruiting. Honeywell's diversity career advancement program is designed to promote the development of diverse employees throughout the company. So again, we're just really dedicated to making sure that our diverse employees are getting the exposure and their careers are progressing just as anyone else's is. Something that we've recently launched, it's brand new, is the Honeywell Accelerator. which is a revitalized operating system using what the Honeywell operating system successful to transform the entire company. It provides resources and removes barriers so that all employees can follow proven pathways to reach successful outcomes. And it connects us with every part of the organization through shared knowledge, common practices, and a commitment to the things the Honeywell way. And what this is a number of learning paths for anything that you could think of. So if you're an HR generalist and you're interested in project management, there's going to be a project management path that you can take of different modules. And most of those modules today were created by our senior leadership here at Honeywell. And so it's really exciting. We're encouraged to take one module per week so that we really dive into the learning and continue to expand on our different skill sets. Honeywell has stated that they would be carbon neutral by 2035. That is our pledge and what we are trying to achieve every day. So, Honeywell pledges to achieve carbon neutrality in all of our facilities and all of our operations by 2035. And where we stand today is that we're at a 90% reduction in greenhouse gas intensity since 2004. We have about a 70% improvement in energy efficiency. There are 5,700 sustainability projects that have been underway or considered since 2010. About 50% of new product research and development into carbon neutrality, and we have a ton of investment focused there. There's about 3,000 acres remediated and restored as valuable community assets, and 155 million gallons of water saved in water-stressed areas since 2013. 42 million cars, the equivalent of the number of cars removed from the road for 1 year, thanks to Solstice. So this is what we've already achieved towards that carbon neutrality, and it's only going to continue. Another highlight of working for Honeywell is that we do have corporate citizenship. And so what this means is corporate social responsibility. How are we as an organization giving back to our employees? And here are a number of different ways through STEM education, inclusion and diversity, which we've already touched on. And then my personal favorite is the humanitarian relief. We've funded 185 safe drinking water stations serving 650,000 people in rural India through the Safe Water Network Partnership. There is a Honeywell Humanitarian Relief Foundation, and this is an employee funded project. So all of the employees can donate to this foundation, and then Honeywell then provides emergency funding to employees who are in need due to natural disasters. There's been over 14.5 million distributed to over 2,450 employees in our global communities after natural disasters since 2001. And we've repaired or rebuilt 908 homes, 4 schools, 9 medical clinics, and 1 elder care center. Again, this is one of my favorite things. I had an employee when I was in Mobile at the manufacturing site who actually benefited from this program. A tornado came through, completely destroyed their home. We applied to get him assistance to the Honeywell Humanitarian Relief Foundation, and Honeywell was able to get him into a hotel for the entire duration of the remodel of his home, and give him a supplement of some cash flow during that time, since he experienced so much hardship. So that's a way that it helped the clients that I serve, but it helps a ton of employees. And with that concludes kind of the overview of Honeywell. We're going to jump into human resources at Honeywell, and I'm going to pass it over to Nikki Patel.
Thanks, Brianna. Hi, everyone. I just want to take everybody through kind of, what do we deem as important to focus on here at Honeywell HR? If we can go to the next slide, please. So as you can see here, we have a Honeywell HR model that is split up into a few different categories. We have our HR generalists, which currently all of us here on the panel are serving in that capacity, that use deep knowledge of the business and competitive markets to ensure that we meet all of our business priorities and partner with business leaders on an everyday basis to come up with the right strategy and be very tactical in our day-to-day. Then we have our HR services center or HR services group that provides HR administration services globally to enable the organization to be more cost efficient and provide end-to-end customer and contact experience. So if you will, a one-stop shop, and gives them a very integrated choice of access to all of the services that are provided there. And that group in itself is definitely very scalable and have teams throughout the globe that are integrated into the HR services group. We then also have a center of excellence. So here you will find a lot of your talent acquisition, talent management, comp and ben, and labor and employee relations groups housed within our COE. And then of course, for direct access, which is available to managers, employees, 24 hours, 7 days a week for any kind of data tools, systems, and self-service. And here we'll talk about the HR pathways. I believe there's a video here, right, Brianna?
Before we
can hear
continue,
the
I just want to
audio.
make sure you cannot hear the audio.
No.
No.
Let's try that.
The jobs that you feel like you may
I'm gonna
not be able to do, or the ones that are the most terrifying for you from a learning standpoint, are usually the ones that end up, you learning the most. I'm Anisha Aurora. My current title is Vice President of Human Resources. I feel empowered to make decisions that actually impact our workforce. That's a huge level of responsibility. For me, as a woman, I've been able to get to the level that I am and feel that I can still be successful while maintaining a family. I have moved from what was an entry-level position to one of the senior-most people in human resources. If you have a little flexibility and a little initiative, you can get pretty much anywhere in the company. Honeywell is a great place to work for a number of reasons. You can really learn and really grow and really just develop your network. I started my career with Honeywell in a factory that produced oil filters. Over the last 17 years, I've had the chance to relocate 8 times. Every single day, I'm still learning and growing. This is an incredible organization where you can have a career that spans multiple industries, multiple segments, and never have to leave the company. The world is rapidly changing around us, and we are working on solutions that are going to make us relevant 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the road. I help make Honeywell's greatest asset, its people, more successful every day. I'm a future shaper.
I don't know if it was just on my end, but the visual
The jobs that you,
the greatest, or
the jobs
smoothest.
that you,
Sorry.
But I'm glad the audio was, because like Anisha said, there is a lot of opportunity and a lot of different roles. And I know everybody from the Honeywell side on the panel here has had opportunities to engage with leaders like Anisha. So I'm glad you got to hear from a senior HR leader who has been an advocate for this program and through the program herself. So just a little bit about what our Pathways Early Career Program is here. I want to share with you all. It is an early career development program that is global for folks that are graduates of the master's program in HR. I think we've had some folks from labor and relations masters as well, and the MBA group as well. Focused on learning experiences is what the program is about. Participants can grow through 3 different rotations through a variety of different focused learning experiences, whether it's in an HR generalist capacity, supporting one of the functions or one of the business groups, or even within our one of our plants or in one of our COEs as well. Rotations are across the regions and businesses. Like I mentioned, there are 3 15-month assignments across different businesses, COEs, and locations. and it provides deep business and global exposure where you get to work on projects with really broad business and global exposure to wide variety of business as well as HR leaders, and gives you access to their exposure and experiences to learn from them, and allows you to build business acumen as one of the top skills. And with that, I'll pass it over to you, Anna, to take us through the next few slides.
Yeah, so, I think there's always this question, right, of especially in this market, why choose Honeywell? Why choose HR Pathways? And this is, sort of what's in it for you. So specifically for the internship, we do offer housing and travel. So as we mentioned before, we do have a pretty distributed workforce. And so the chances are, you could do an internship in one of our locations across the country, like Phoenix, Arizona, or Charlotte, or Atlanta. And of course, we pay for your housing and your travel throughout your internship so that you don't have to have that burden on yourself. We do offer full-time offers after your internship, if you have a successful internship, and that is sort of how you get into the HR Pathways program. And honestly, the work is very meaningful, challenging. You are afforded a lot of learning opportunities kind of within your business and across different businesses, across different functions. And you have the opportunity to connect with senior leaders in ways that maybe you normally wouldn't get access to them in different companies. And frankly, there's huge HR brand recognition because Honeywell trusts you with a lot of challenging assignments pretty early in your career. So you're really able to hone your HR skills and your business acumen. And of course, it's a global organization. So if you do, support global teams, you have the opportunity to travel and meet them, hopefully when the world goes back to normal. And so that's definitely a bonus as well. Next slide, please. So some of the key experiences as an intern in the program are you will have a role, and so you'll be dropped into one of our strategic business groups, and you'll be probably assigned to a client group. And so you'll have some business specific projects, and this will be unique depending on the team that you work with. But there are really clear expectations and deliverables set right up front. So, you never have to go through your time feeling like, oh my gosh, am I working on the right thing? You have the opportunity to share with your manager what you're interested in learning and getting out of the summer, as well as making sure that you're, getting a real preview into what life is really like after the internship. There are also cross SBG projects. So when you come in as an intern, you'll have a project team that you'll be assigned to, and this will be sort of like a problem statement. And so you'll get together with a bunch of other HR Pathways interns, and you'll have the opportunity to actually solve some of our top challenges in HR for the year. And so, you work with a project team, sponsored at the executive level, and each group gets to present at to the CHRO and her leadership team in the middle of the summer. And so it's a really great opportunity to, solve real business problems. And I think one of the greatest things is, we actually use the work and the project output. So you really are solving real challenges for us. Of course, there's a ton of mentoring pathways. I mean, I think there's about 100 of us globally at any given time. So it's a huge network to lean on, to rely on. There are kind of little communities as well. So, we have a little Rutgers community as well. So you have the opportunity to network with us all summer long. And there's just a lot of opportunity for you to get advice and guidance on what the best path forward is, no matter what you're working on. And then, of course, there's an intern summit. So we fly you out to our headquarters in Charlotte. Hopefully next summer you'll be there in physically and it won't be a virtual summit. But it is a 2-day event, and you have a day just to prep and practice and really hone your presentation skills in front of a bunch of senior leaders. And then day 2 is kind of show time, where you get to showcase your project and the results of all your hard work that summer. So it's a really great experience, and you get to network with other pathways across different businesses, and it's really exciting. And the next couple slides will take you through a couple projects from this summer. So one of our strategic projects was, how do we increase our sourcing effectiveness? So you might some of this might resonate with you if you've been in any talent acquisition or staffing courses, but really thinking through what are some sourcing strategies and ways of operating that we can implement to improve the experience for our hiring managers as well as our HR generalists. How do we increase diversity of slate to really ensure that we have diverse candidate pools? How do we fill our jobs faster? So that's kind of what TTF, or time to fill, stands for. How do we ensure that our roles are filled and they're not vacant for a long time? How do we work with our recruiting partner providers to optimize our processes when it comes to sourcing? And so, the outcome of this project was implemented into our day-to-day hiring MOS. And then if you go to the next slide, the next project focused more on workforce planning. We take workforce planning pretty seriously here at Honeywell, down to the every last belly button. we will account for you. And it was pretty manual in the beginning, to be honest, and pretty cumbersome. So, an intern team got together and, thought through, okay, how do we automate this? How do we make this more seamless and more accurate so that we can do, forecasting and demand estimation in a standard way? And they also, got to explore a digital solution to do workforce planning. And so this is actually a tool that is now being launched in phases. And so just another example of us, taking your recommendations from the summer and implementing them. So next steps, on September, we're doing the Q&A panel right now. If you guys are taking Strat 3 right now, we will be doing a classroom visit on the 20th. Our career fair is on the 24th, where we will be present. So please come and visit us if you're interested in learning more. We don't have our date yet for our on-campus interviews, but we will absolutely be sure to let you know when that does get scheduled. And of course, currently we are planning a Fantastic Friday event, which is sort of the recruiting event that comes, after the on-campus interviews. Currently stated for the 14th and 15th of October, but that's to be determined whether you'll be there in person or whether it'll be virtual. And that's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Anna and Nikki. Do we have any questions from the group?
So I was wondering what year level the opportunities this summer are geared towards. Are they strictly towards like second year master students, or are there opportunities for first years as well?
So they're actually geared towards first years.
Oh, okay.
Because the idea is that you do your internship, you come back, you complete your coursework, and then you would have if you were to get an offer, you would start after graduation, but there would be kind of that full year of school, or whenever you're due to graduate, whether it's January or May of the next year, you join us later on at that point.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I actually did have a question, like following up that question. So I am like in my second and third semester in the graduate program. So this upcoming summer, I hope to apply, and I'm not going to be returning to school. Like, would that be an issue with the application process?
So you wouldn't be qualified for the intern program. We do have usually have full-time positions after the internship concludes, and then within the actual Pathways program, but we also have a campus in Morris Plains or any of our locations. If you're relocatable, you can always apply to a full-time position outside of the Pathways program. But our focus is the first years going into their second years for the intern program.
Hi, I have a question.
Sure.
So my question is, do you get like feedback from the interns each year, and kind of what do they say? What do they think about the program overall?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely get a ton of feedback. I think, you know, there was a time when I was personally kind of collecting feedback from the interns. I haven't done it for the past 2 years, but from what I remember, the feedback was always, you guys use a lot of acronyms, so a guide would be helpful, which totally understand that. And I think also people were always consistently telling us that they were happy that they were solving real problems. It wasn't just, you know, like a fake project that somebody made up for someone's internship to keep them busy. And it's really a place where you can kind of chart your own course. You know, it is what you make of it. And so I think, you know, the opportunity to network across all levels was something that always stood out in terms of the feedback. And I think those were kind of the 3 things that I remember being consistent across the board.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
And I would just echo what Anna said. And another way that we get feedback is you do get a mentor, and then that mentor works with you throughout the summer. And there's usually like a final like meeting, and you give some of your feedback to your mentor at that time, and the mentor does provide that to the program managers. And I would just say that the feedback is in line with Anna's. So many acronyms, and, you know, but happy to be working on real projects and to feel like a part of the HR organization versus an intern. Yeah, I don't know, Joe, do you have anything to add since you're our newest addition to the team and we're the most recent intern?
Yeah, I think the biggest point of feedback that I had, and it's funny because Bree was my mentor when I interned last summer. I think the biggest point of feedback is, like Anna said, you're working on real life projects, and also the level of exposure I feel like is much higher than you would get at a different organization. Just first to be an intern 8 weeks in and present to the CHRO is such a rewarding experience on a project that you know is going to make a difference in the organization. And then just continuing from the internship, you're able to work with such high level individuals on a daily basis. I think that was the biggest point of feedback, you know, that I had taken away during the internship, was be ready to work with some of the highest level of HR that you can in the organization. And, you know, that's something that I feel like you won't get at during other internships, but, you know, just one of the biggest things that I took away from it.
Thanks, Joe.
And I'll add one other thing that I've heard is just the perks of, you know, providing living accommodations as well as travel, being able to get together for a summit. I think is very exciting for our intern group as well. So being able to have those expenses paid for is definitely something, even as, you know, full-time Pathways, we get to do that. We haven't done that in a little bit with the summit due to the pandemic, but, you know, all of the HR Pathways from around the globe do get together for our annual summit. So I think that's a really great perk.
Yeah.
There's another question in the chat. Sorry, were you gonna add something, Brianna?
No, go ahead.
There's a question in the chat from Gurjeet around opportunities for an international student pursuing first-year master's in HR, interested in knowing, in particular, visa-related prerequisites. So I know in the past we have asked folks, if you are applying for the internship full-time, that the visa piece was something that was a requirement. Team, I don't know if there's any other updated information that you'd want to share as well.
I'm not aware, no. I think that'll have to be something that we get back to you on.
Yeah.
I have a question. Were there any, this is kind of geared towards Jonathan, but were there any culture shocks or like company culture shocks you faced when first coming into the program, and how did you like acclimate to that company culture and all the things that were expected of you?
That's a great question. I'll take a stab at it from what I remember when I started. The one thing that I found as a positive surprise was how helpful everybody is, even up to the VP levels. I think I noticed that even right off the bat during the Fantastic Friday event, where we get to meet a lot of leadership as part of a pre-dinner and then even during the interviews. And, almost 5 years later, I still find that to be true, that I can set up 15 minutes with the VP of HR to get to know their team better, and they're willing to. And that goes for non-HR leaders, I will say as well. I think the thing that shocked me, not so much as positive at first, is the speed at which things move. At Honeywell, we have a saying that we do everything right and fast. So speed is definitely something that shocked me when I first started, and something that, does take a bit to kind of get used to.
Yeah. I definitely, sorry, go ahead, Joe.
No, go ahead, Anna, you go first.
I was just gonna say, I definitely echoed that. I think, when I remember when I first joined, Nikki was actually my intern mentor, and I remember having so much imposter syndrome, just being like, I'm not gonna make it. This is it for me. It's not gonna happen. And people are just so willing to help you. And if you just act like you're interested and ask questions and want to learn, there is no one, I've never met a single person in this organization who won't take time out of their very busy day to help you. And so I think that was, so the speed is a shock, but when you have the support behind you, you don't, it doesn't feel as scary. It feels like, okay, I can do this. Yeah.
I think those are great points, and I just want to echo both of those. I think that coming into such a large organization, especially right out of school, it's natural to have a learning curve. And I definitely feel like the role that you're in can determine if it's steep or if it's not as steep, because I do feel like coming into some roles may be a little bit more difficult than others, but nonetheless, there is a little bit of that shock, right? You're adjusting to Honeywell as a company, you're learning the way they do things, you're learning all their businesses at the same time. And so it definitely is a bit of a challenge, but like Anna said, everyone is really willing to take time out of their day to talk to you. Networking is your best friend, either if it's other pathways or other individuals in your organization as well. I found that sitting in on as many calls as I possibly could in the first 2 months was one of the most important things that I did, because it just allows me to learn by visualizing certain things and speaking to different people. So definitely is a challenge for some, but nonetheless, I mean, that's kind of what comes with entering such a large organization, especially coming right out of school. So just echoing similar points.
Another thing I would add now that I think about it is, at first, sometimes it feels like, HR is always trying to have a seat at the table. And I remember when I first joined, I was shocked that my business leaders expected me to have an opinion. And then they actually listened to my opinion. It wasn't like, oh, here's just the HR person, let's ask her about benefits or something like that. You truly feel like an HR business partner. And so it was shocking, but also rewarding. And, when you know that there are leaders out there that have expectations of you, you feel motivated to meet them. So,
yeah,
that's a great point, Anna.
I would agree with Anna, and that was my point, is that I had worked at other organizations before Honeywell and before going to Rutgers, And it's always, what in HR, it was always benefits or very admin. The biggest shock to me was how strategic and how involved with the business that they expect their HR partners to be. It was definitely an expectation for me that I was not, I think, originally ready for, just because I had never been able to actually, we learned about it in school, but actually put like pen to paper, apply those things that you're learning to be a strategic business partner, and actually being able to utilize them was super rewarding. And the other thing that I would just say is that coming into a company with a performance culture, with the 8 behaviors, that's not something I had seen at the other organizations or expected to see anywhere, honestly. And the 8 behaviors were, a really big focus of my intern project. Not that I remember exactly what it was, but I just know we focused on the 9 block and the 8 behaviors. And so that was something that was exciting for me. The most challenging part for me was that I was placed at a manufacturing site. And so not only was I expected to know about the business, I had never been in a manufacturing site, I did not know what that entailed, what it looked like. And so being able to be a part of that world and get a better understanding of what, most companies, like, their bread and butter is manufacturing. So getting to have that very front face of knowledge is fun, but very challenging in the beginning because I didn't know what I was getting into.
Thank you so much for all those answers.
I was wondering what the success rate is of your interns going into the Pathways program. Like, particularly, do you feel like most interns are prepared enough to then be successful and go into the Pathways? Just wanted to know about that a little bit more.
I do want to mention, and this may not answer your question and we can answer it, but I also want to point out that for the interns, because we do get this question a lot, around the success rate or how many people get an offer. When you're an intern, there is a full-time spot for every single intern that we bring on. So you're not competing with each other for a spot within the organization. For all the interns that we hire, we have a full-time position in the Pathways program available. So you're really only trying to figure out if Honeywell is the right match for you. Again, we have some things that aren't a fit for everyone, that moving at lightning speed and getting acclimated super quickly isn't for everyone. A performance culture isn't for everyone. And then trying to show that you are right for Honeywell. And that's really just, that your manager matters, your mentor matters, and your project sponsors. I think a lot of interns get hung up on their corporate project, but really I think it's a mix of everything, your relationships that you build with your manager and then the team that you're supporting, as well as your corporate project. Your corporate project isn't really going to make or break you because it's a team effort, but it is the standard that how you perform in that moment, how you present, what value did you add to the project. Your project sponsors know how much you're contributing to your project. So it's not whether or not your solution is a good one, but more about what you put into it. So I would say that all of those matter towards a success rate.
Yeah, I'd say you're never gonna get everything you need to be, kind of a rock star like day one once you start full time after an internship, right? It's more just you're getting a taste of what life might be like, what kind of a day-to-day might look like. And really, I think the real learning begins in your first rotation, when you feel like when you're dropped in and you're expected to perform. And honestly, it takes a good 6 months to feel like you've got it down. So
that answers
sorry,
that.
I have to. Yeah, no worries.
Oh,
I have to ask: has my camera been green this whole time?
Not the whole time. Just recently.
Green. I was getting ready to try.
Oops.
Did you turn yourself green?
Apparently, my webcam must be broken. Oops.
It's better now.
Oh, good. Okay.
Good. Do we have any other Any other questions?
I have a question. So for students who are interested in applying for the program or they've already submitted an application, any suggestions for them to make a good impression, whether it's at the career fair or if they're selected for an interview? Any tips, advice, suggestions you have for them on that part of things?
I would say the biggest things come with examples to your answers. So whether it's schoolwork or in your role, if you have previous experience or whatever job that you're working currently as you go to school, it doesn't have to be HR. Just provide a meaningful experience to kind of just back up your answer, as well as do your research about Honeywell and the get familiar with the 8 behaviors. I think that's on our website. And get familiar with some of the newer initiatives or that we have going on, either by Google search or YouTube. There's a ton of videos out there, but just kind of those are my 2 biggest pieces of advice.
Yeah, I'd echo that, Brianna. The STAR method, definitely, talk about the situation and definitely talk about the outcome and your personal involvement in that situation or example that you're going to give. And then, the research piece, look at how maybe your answers can align to showing how you could be a good fit and aligning those to maybe our behaviors. I think could be a good way to format your answers. And be yourself, right? We're hiring for a good culture fit. So don't overdo it or don't be too shy, but just really be yourself, because at the end of the day, we're interviewing you and you're also interviewing us. So we do look for that good culture fit as well. Somebody who you may not obviously will have all the answers, but somebody who's going to take that initiative to be willing to learn and put in the effort.
Yeah, definitely echo the being yourself, even if, just show up as yourself as you can. I remember my interview for the internship. I was working full time as an HR generalist at another company and going to school full time. So I was trying to get in an interview like in between like classes and had to leave work early. So it was like a Friday. So I was super exhausted. And I just remember the biggest piece of feedback I got was, you answered all the questions right, but you just don't seem excited. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm just exhausted. And she was like, no, that's fine. So just, as you are that day, just be honest and, yourself and confident, even if you're exhausted.
Yeah, I definitely echo everything that Bree and Nikki have said. And jumping off of Bree's point a little bit, I think sometimes a lot of our leaders may ask questions around, we often bring all the great parts of ourselves to an interview, but it often shows a lot of self-awareness to be able to talk about where you're not the best, and then follow that up with, what are you doing to, to develop or to close those gaps? And so I think, being humble is also important, but also be confident, because we wouldn't be interviewing you if we weren't interested in you. So definitely have to also believe in yourself.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, first of all, for the information. It sounded just super exciting, super great. To be honest, I just started to look for an internship or anything like that, because I do have a full-time job and this is my just second semester in a master's. So I guess it's a bit too early, but this sounds just very exciting. So my question would be, how long does the internship last? Will you get the answer at the end of the internship? And what's the application process? To be honest, never researched anything yet. Obviously, I will definitely do that after this evening. But yeah, that would be my questions. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I think for the internship, I know we had planned, and Joe, this may have changed, so keep me honest, We had planned for offers kind of within the same day of our on-campus interviews. I don't know if that process has changed. I know there's been some back and forth. The internship is just about 3 months, depending on your schedule, running from either the end of May or the beginning of June to like the beginning, mid, or end of August, again, depending on your availability. It is full-time, so you're in a full-time position, 40-hour weeks. And then towards the end of the internship, I would say like around 2 weeks left of your internship, your leaders will know if you have an offer or not. And then depending on when you're planning your exit, that's when they would let you know. So depending on your exit date is when you will find out if you have an offer. So some people at different schools start sooner than others. So your peers may be getting offers and you're not because you have a week left. That's like how it happened for me. I think I was like the last intern. And so like I had no idea, but you do find out towards the end. It just depends on the date that your exit date. So you find out by the end of it. And then again, that starts when you graduate. And so you're in your second semester. Now would be a perfect time to apply. You can go to careers.honeywell.com. And that's where you can apply for the internship. And Joe and Carlos, I'm sure we have something posted through Rutgers as well that you could probably apply to.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yes, so we do have the posting up on Handshake as well. So definitely if you're interested, you can check it out on our Handshake website. The job posting is up there, so you can apply through there as well.
Okay.
You know, and I'm sure I'd speak for all of us, but if you're interested in connecting with us on LinkedIn, you know, absolutely feel free to request us. Happy to connect and, you know, help out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's a great idea. I would definitely do that. Okay, thank you very much. You have a great rest of your evening. And good luck working for such a great company.
Yeah, thanks.